Ravens flock, what's going on? You know it's going down in Buffalo. We've got the Ravens, we've got the Bills. Saturday night, divisional round, with the chance to go to the AFC Championship game. It's all going down Saturday night. Lamar Jackson versus Josh Allen in Buffalo. Oh my God, I can't wait for this game. This game means everything. And you know it's not going to be an easy one. First, we have to sit back and appreciate these two young quarterbacks, because the 2018 draft, that's a draft we may look back at, depending on how these quarterbacks play, we may look back at and think, man, that's one of the greatest drafts ever, man. We may look back at that draft very closely. But let's appreciate these two young quarterbacks, because they were doubted coming into the draft. And look at them. They both have an opportunity to get to the AFC Championship game. But only one is allowed to go. So we got to see what happens with this matchup. Now, we already know this game's going to be wild. It's definitely been quite an interesting week. You know, the fans and everything going at it. But there is a level of respect between these two teams. There's a respect between these two fan bases. And of course, you know, there's going to be some trash talk. So you have to prepare yourself. But, you know, it should be an interesting game. It's going to be a great game. This is probably the game of the week, in my opinion, because, like, you really want to see this. Then again, people argue the Saints-Bucks is the game of the week because Brady versus Breeze, but that's a different situation. This is my game of the week, and I just can't wait to see these two young quarterbacks go at it, possibly in the snow, who knows, for a chance to get to the AFC Championship game. Now, before we actually get into the predictions, I'm going to get a little bit hype here for this game. Buffalo, Bills Mafia. I know you guys are hype, getting your first playoff win since 1995. I know that this win last week meant everything to you guys. But you don't want it to end here. You've got so much belief in this team, and you want to get to the championship game. Prove yourselves. Get to the Super Bowl, win a championship. You're so proud of this team. But there's one opponent standing in front of you that is stopping you guys from advancing, and that is the Ravens. And you have to get past them. You've got to beat them in your building to make sure you can advance. And I know I've seen a lot of trash talk from Bills Mafia this week, and I know some of them have this level of mindset. And I'm pretty sure all Bills fans have this type of mindset, where it's just, it's our house. If the Ravens think they can come into our stadium, our building, our house, and beat us, they've got another thing coming. They will not walk into that stadium and walk out with a W. We will bury them and walk over their crushed dreams as we head over to the AFC Championship game. I know that's how Bill Mafias feel. I know Bills fans think that. On the flip side, you got the Ravens fans. We're not ready to back down. We're not. We're coming at you guys full force. And our response to that is, we don't care about your dreams of going to the Super Bowl. We don't care about that. We don't care that it's in your building, in your house. We don't care. We are road warriors. We are going to walk into your stadium, blow it down, and walk over your broken tables and dreams and take ourselves to the AFC Championship game. Only one of these will come true. One dream is ending Saturday night. Will the Bills defend home field? Or will the Ravens walk into their stadium and walk out with a W as they celebrate all over the crushed dreams and tables of Bills Mafia? We're going to find out. And of course, we do not know who is going to advance between the Browns and the Chiefs. And I feel like a lot of people are not giving the Browns any chance in this game, which is disrespectful. I personally believe the Browns have a much better chance to beat the Chiefs than people are giving them credit for. The Chiefs better not underestimate this Cleveland Brown team, because they are very talented. So that's definitely going to be a tough matchup. But I believe in Mahomes and the Chiefs. And I believe they're going to come up clutch because they've done it in the postseason, so I can see them doing it again, which is why I believe Chiefs will get to the AFC Championship game. But we'll talk about that when I actually get to my discussion as to why I'm picking the Chiefs. But I personally believe the Chiefs are getting there. And if that ends up being the case, then this matchup between the Bills and the Ravens get even more intense because Buffalo has some unfinished business with Kansas City. And Baltimore definitely has some unfinished business with Kansas City. Both these teams, if they want to get to that point. They want to get there. Now, don't get us wrong. We would definitely like to see the Chiefs lose, because if the Chiefs lose, then that means the winner of this game hosts the AFC Championship game. I would love an AFC Championship game in Baltimore. Buffalo would love the AFC Championship game to be there. And they really like their matchup against Cleveland over a matchup against Kansas City. But it ain't about that, man. We want Kansas City. I believe Buffalo wants Kansas City. I believe Baltimore wants Kansas City. And they feel if they can get past their current opponent and get to the AFC Championship game, the Kansas City will be waiting there for them. And they want that matchup because they want to settle some unfinished business. Both the Bills and the Ravens have lost the Chiefs this season, and they want to redeem themselves. They want a chance to go into Kansas City and beat these guys at the highest stage and get to the Super Bowl. But before you can even get to that point, you have to win this game on Saturday night. You've got to win this game. It all comes down to this. If you want to get to the AFC Championship game, if you want to potentially meet the Chiefs there, if you want to get redemption, if you want to go to the Super Bowl, it starts here. You have to win this game. You have to win this matchup. Win or go home. Do or die. Whose dream is ending on Saturday night? Somebody's going home crying, and somebody is reigning victorious as they move on and get one step closer to their dream of winning a Super Bowl. Is it going to be Baltimore? Is it going to be Buffalo? We're going to find out Saturday night. With that being said, let's get into this matchup. So, I actually feel that both of these teams are pretty even, but as a Ravens fan, I personally like this matchup against Buffalo. There's definitely some strengths and weaknesses on both sides that I can see each team, taking advantage of. But honestly, when it comes to this game, it's pretty much going to come down to both defenses. It's going to come down to our secondary trying to slow down Josh Allen in this passing game versus Buffalo's run defense trying to stop and slow down Lamar Jackson in this explosive running game. Whichever defense cannot make the stops or contain these guys are probably going to lose. If Josh Allen throws for 300 yards and has another 3-touchdown performance, we're going to lose this game. If Lamar Jackson and his Ravens squad can rush for 250 plus yards and put up 2-3 touchdowns, Buffalo's going to lose this game. Especially because the Ravens can dominate in time of possession when it comes to that. So they can go on 6-7 minute drives and put up 7 points. Not as explosive as they were doing last year, but they still have the capability of doing that this season. So it's definitely going to come up to matchups. So Ravens, what do we got to do to win this game? Well, let's start on the easier side. Offense. Offense. You've got to establish this run game, and it has to be the focal point in this game. I do not know if it is going to snow on Saturday. I believe there's a 40 or 50% chance that it does snow, but we'll see. Whether or not it snows, the key to beating this team is running the football. You have to be able to run this football, and we're the best running football unit in the NFL. Last week, the run game against Buffalo, they did a solid job for a good 2-3 quarters, and in the fourth quarter they started giving up some big runs, so that was definitely a concern, and it almost cost them, but they did enough to hold on, so good on them. But the Colts run game is nowhere near our level of run game. Okay, you've got this 3-headed monster in the run game with Lamar Jackson leading it and J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. So when it comes to that run defense, it's not just about containing only Lamar, because you still have to deal with J.K. and you still got to deal with Gus. And when they hand them the ball, these guys, J.K. is explosive. He can, once he finds a hole, he's gone. He's got speed and he's strong. He can keep his feet. He can juke defenders. With Gus Edwards, he is a freight train. This man is, we call him the Gus Bus. He can run it right up the gut. He's physical, and he can carry dudes. He does not go down easily. So trust me, this run defense, man, if you cannot find a way to stop the run game, you guys will not stop the Ravens. It's as simple as that. So Baltimore, run the ball down their throat. This Bills defense is weak against the run. Their strength is in their secondary. Their weakness is in their run defense. That works perfectly as a matchup for the Ravens. So run the football. I've had a lot of fans talk about how great their run defense is. It is a completely different thing when you face off against the Ravens. The way the Ravens run the football is not even remotely close to how every other team runs the football, which is why the Ravens are the best running football team in the NFL by a mile. It's not even comparable. There's no comparison. This is a unit that literally, on average, runs for 200 yards a game. It's going to be tough to stop them. In fact, the last couple of weeks, last 5 games during their win streak, they ran for nearly 250 yards a game. Slowing this team down in the run game, I wish Buffalo the best of luck. But we'll see. They'll probably do a solid job, which is why you'll need to get your receivers involved. There'll be times where they put you in 3rd and long or 2nd and long, and you want to get the passing game going. When it comes to that, simple. Hollywood Brown, the way you showed up against Tennessee, you need to show up like that against Buffalo. Mark Andrews, I like the production I got in Tennessee. I want to continue to see that production and give me a little bit more, just a little bit more production. Give me that and we'll be good. And I'm going to need somebody else, whether it's Miles Boykins, whether it's Dez Bryant, whether it's Willie Snead, whoever. I need somebody else to produce something. Maybe we got to get Patrick Ricard involved again. But we need somebody else to provide something. It can't just be Hollywood and it can't just be Andrews. You need somebody else. So I'm sitting here thinking, I think this could be a game where Boykin does something, but I'm probably going to point towards Willie Snead because putting him in the slot, he's going to be a very crucial guy to pick up a couple extra yards to set up a 3rd and short, which works to our advantage. We're one of the best teams on 3rd down percentages. So that setting up a 3rd and short works perfectly for us, especially when we're in opponent's territory, because if we don't get it on 3rd down, we most certainly will probably go for it on 4th down. So you got to get a couple receivers involved. Hollywood Brown must be productive in this game. Mark Andrews must be productive in this game. And if you got to get somebody else involved, whether it's Patrick Ricard, Willie Snead, I'll point to Willie Snead for the most part, but anybody else needs to get involved in this passing game. Because there will be moments where you need to pass, especially when you get in the red zone. And Lamar Jackson's been great in the red zone. Both these quarterbacks, Lamar and Josh, have been great in the red zone. So you need to get these receivers to get something there in the red zone. And I'm looking towards 2 guys, Dez Bryant and Mark Andrews in the red zone. That's the guys I'm looking for. You can also try to get Hollywood Brown involved. We have been getting him involved in the last 6 weeks, which is why he had 6 touchdowns in the last 6 games. So definitely look to get these receivers involved in the passing game. Just enough. But the main concern needs to be running the football. And as always, don't turn the ball over, okay? Don't turn the ball over. The offensive line's been doing a great job when it comes to run blocking. However, they have been doing a poor job when it comes to pass protecting. Lamar had 4 sacks in the first half of the Titans game. That cannot happen in this game. They have to protect Lamar Jackson, because if you can't protect him, we will be in trouble. So that's all I need to ask from the offense. Defensively, it becomes more complicated. This game is going to come down to a few people. Marlon Humphrey, Jimmy Smith, Marcus Peters, Chuck Clark, Deshaun Elliott, Anthony Averett. These are your main guys. Your main 6 guys is going to come down to you guys. You are going to match up with the receivers of the Bills offense. If you guys cannot slow that offensive weapon unit down, we are going to lose this game. Josh Allen is a sniper and he has weapons all around. He's not afraid to throw the ball down the field, especially to his main man, Stephon Diggs, who is built for this moment. And speaking of Stephon Diggs, somebody is going to have to cover him. Now, of course, they're probably going to be alternating between Humphrey, Jimmy, and Marcus Peters. But the matchup I feel would best work for this situation would be putting Marcus Peters on Stephon Diggs. Now, of course, people will look at me and saying, it's a bit crazy and a bit risky knowing Marcus Peters and how he constantly gets burned. But, my reasoning for this is because you get more opportunities to force a turnover with Marcus Peters than you do with Marlon Humphrey. Now, Marlon Humphrey, he's such a physical corner. The man plays like a linebacker, and he has the speed to keep up with any receiver in the league. That's why he's such a physical receiver, which is why last week, the perfect matchup for him to be on was A.J. Brown. Unfortunately, he didn't win that matchup. That is a matchup that was perfectly fit for him to cover. He just didn't play well enough in the first half. Second half, that game changed. But first half, he did not play well against A.J. Brown. It was really that first quarter where he didn't play well against A.J. Brown. And then other than that, he started to play well against him. But yeah, that was the matchup for him. I don't know if I'm comfortable enough putting Marlon Humphrey on Stephon Diggs the entire game. I mean, alternating and putting him up against Diggs, a good chunk of the time, I'm fine. Especially when it's like vertical routes, like when it's just one-on-one, man-to-man, going down the field. I know Humphrey can keep up with this man, so that's definitely a great matchup. But I mean, Stephon Diggs ain't just doing that. It ain't just about being physical. I mean, this man is elite, man. This man is elite. He's got elite speed, elite quickness, the ability to run these routes. He's quick. The way he gets off the line of scrimmage, his release, he's good, man. And his footwork is nice. I mean, this dude, the way he's able to cut on these out routes, these dig routes, man, he's so swift with that. I don't really know if I like that matchup with Humphrey going up against Diggs, especially when it's these out routes and these corner routes and stuff. I don't know if I like that for Humphrey. I would prefer Marcus Peters in that position with man-to-man, specifically because I know Allen will be looking for that matchup. And obviously, if you put Marcus Peters on Stephon Diggs, that's definitely going to be a dangerous matchup. And trust me, Diggs will definitely win that matchup a good chunk of the times. But what I'm alluding to when you do that is by putting Diggs on Marcus Peters for a good chunk. Not the whole game, but a good chunk of the time. You're bringing up the opportunity of Marcus Peters possibly jumping the route and possibly picking off Josh Allen. The more frequently you throw towards Marcus Peters, the higher chance he gets of picking you off. And we want to force turnovers in this game against Allen. Obviously, you want to shut down Stephon Diggs, and I believe if he's matched up with Humphrey at times, Humphrey could do a great job at stopping him from getting anything down the field. But in terms of just all around for a good chunk of the game, I like Marcus Peters in that matchup, specifically because even though he's probably going to get burned at times, the more Allen trusts that decision to throw to Allen, and the more he starts throwing it, the higher the chance it is for Marcus Peters to pick off Josh Allen, which is exactly what we want in the game. You give Marcus Peters enough time on man-to-man coverage with a receiver, he's going to get some opportunities to pick off that quarterback, and that's what you want to happen. We saw it last week. Against Tennessee. I want to see if we can get that to happen again in this game. Now, obviously, they have other weapons, with John Brown and Cole Beasley in the slot and what he does over the middle. So, obviously, we need our guys to step up. Linebackers, definitely, you got to stop anything coming from the middle of the field. Obviously, Jimmy Smith's going to be focused. Jimmy Smith and Marlon Humphrey may be alternating in the slot. So, they'll definitely be, moving around. John Brown's probably going to be definitely that outside weapon. I can see Jimmy Smith definitely on him for a good part of the game. I can see Marlon Humphrey getting a couple good looks. And, of course, Marcus Peters. But, yeah, our secondary needs to show up. And one thing that's been great about this secondary is they don't really give up deep passes. Okay? This is not a secondary that gives up a lot of passes over the top. Our corners are able to stick with these receivers. And our safeties, they do such a great job to make it so difficult to even want to throw those. They do a great job in coverage. Chuck Clark and Deshaun Elliott do such a great job in coverage. And our corners doing a great job keeping up with these guys that, honestly, I trust them man-to-man. However, when it comes to this situation overall, I don't believe this is going to be the game where you see the Ravens defense play a lot of man-to-man. I think you're going to see a lot more zone because, Josh Allen does really well when he thrives, and his receivers thrive in man-to-man situations. If there's any secondary that I believe can do well against the weapons on Buffalo in man-to-man situations, it's definitely the Ravens. But I can see Wink Martindale throwing a lot of zone in this game just to make it so that they're not giving up they're not putting themselves in man-to-man situations and potentially giving up the deep ball. So I could definitely see some zone being played here. But most importantly, not even just that. It just really comes down to what are you going to do against Josh Allen. Now, they have Singletary. Obviously, we know they lost Zach Taylor. They still have Singletary in the run game, and they're going to try to get him going at times, which I believe our front seven is going to do a great job at stopping that. But really, this game's also going to come down to what you can do with Josh Allen. Can you hit him? Can you hit him? Can you stop him when he chooses to take off and run? And most importantly, can you keep him in the pocket and force him to throw into tight coverage, which is what you'll see if you play zone here. One thing I'll definitely say is that this ain't really the time. I know Wink Martindale is known for that, but this is not the time to blitz. We do not need to see a lot of blitz and pressures in this game. No. Back up into coverage and play it like that. Because here's the thing. When you choose to blitz Josh Allen, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You cannot blitz this dude. At the same time, when you give Josh Allen a lot of time, which he gets because his offensive line does a really solid job. There are times where he's getting like six seconds and finding his man. When he gets time, he's carving defenses. So you can't blitz him, and you cannot give him too much time. This is where it really comes down to the secondary holding up for long enough. Judon Ngakoue, this is your time, man. I need the way I saw Judon show up and all these other guys. I'm going to need y'all to show up. Ngakoue, if there's any time you come out and have a dominant game and really disrupt the quarterback, this is the moment, because I don't see us blitzing a lot in this game. So with Ngakoue coming off that edge, I need Ngakoue to get to Allen when he can. But most importantly, there's two things you're going to want to do. If you're going to pressure Josh Allen, which I don't see happening much in this game, but if you're going to pressure Josh Allen, you're going to want to do one of two things. Either you want to contain him in the pocket and trust in your secondary to hold up, which will eventually cause the pocket to collapse, or force Josh Allen to throw the ball out because nothing's there. So you want to keep him in the pocket, keep him there contained, and cover up in that secondary. That really comes down to our secondary holding up. Secondly, if you are going to pressure, you want to pressure and force Josh Allen to roll to his left side. If you let Josh Allen roll to his right, you're in trouble. But if you let him roll to your left, you've got a good chance of that being an incomplete, him forcing the ball and causing a turnover, or him just running out of bounds and letting the ball go. But it will not be a big game. So you want to force him to his left or contain him in the pocket and hope that your secondary is able to hold up long enough for the pocket to collapse, or for Josh Allen to try and force the ball somewhere there and just have to get rid of it or something like that. So that's definitely what you want to see. So defense, it really comes down to the secondary holding up against these receivers and our edge rushers being able to do a good job when they're pressuring Josh Allen and not working to his strengths. So overall, that's really what we got to see. We'll see what happens. It's definitely going to be a great game. Once again, it's going to come down to both these defenses. The Buffalo defense against Lamar Jackson in that explosive running game, and the Baltimore defense against Josh Allen in that high-flying passing offense with all those weapons. We'll see what happens. So, who's winning this game? Obviously, this is definitely a tough one. I definitely like the matchup. If I didn't like the matchup this much, I'd probably look at this and say, yeah, this is the Bills. But I like this matchup for Baltimore. This is a great matchup for them. I feel like this is a great matchup for them to go up against. It's going to be a tough game. And at the end of the day, if the Bills defense can stop our run, it's their win. And if our defense cannot stop them from getting explosive plays over the top, it will also be their win. But I think the Ravens defense is built and ready for this type of moment. They're one of the best secondaries in the league. They don't give up a lot of deep passes, which, ironically is the strength of this offense because Josh Allen is constantly throwing the ball down the field. So we'll see who wins that matchup. And also going up against a Bills team that's not great against the run really works in benefit of the Ravens because the Ravens run game is the best in the league by far. When they got these three-headed monsters with Lamar Jackson, J.K. Dobbins, and Gus Edwards. So this is definitely going to be a great matchup. I feel like it's a great matchup for both teams, but I really like this. As a Ravens fan, I really like this matchup. So I believe the Ravens are going to take this win 30-27. I'm going to say 30-27. I'm going to give the Ravens the win 30-27. Depending on how it goes, I can honestly drop 20 points and say I can see it either going 30-27 or 21-17. Because I don't know what the weather's going to be out there. It could be a very disgusting game, depending on the snow. It could be like a run-centric game, especially for the Ravens, where they're just chewing up clock on 7, 8, possibly 9-minute drives. Who knows what they come up with that. But I see the Ravens either winning this 30 to 27 or 21 to 17. That's how I see it. But I don't know, with this high flying offense, I don't know if you can really hold Josh Allen and that crew to 17 points. But hey, our defense has not given up 20 points in quite some time. I mean, other than the Browns game, they haven't really given up 20 points in a while. So, like, I think they're built for this, though I'll probably lean more towards the 27 than the 17. So, I'll just give the Ravens the win at 30 to 27. They will advance to the AFC Championship game for the first time since 2012, and we'll see what happens. With that being said, Bills Mafia, Ravens Flock, should be an enjoyable rest of the week. We'll see what happens Saturday night when these two teams go at it. And no matter who wins, let's show some respect. If Baltimore gets the win, hey, Buffalo, shake our hands. Wish us best of luck in the AFC Championship game. If Buffalo gets the win, hey, we'll shake your hands and wish you guys best of luck in the AFC Championship game. No matter what, there's so much respect between these two quarterbacks and these two teams. So let's see if these two fan bases can show each other respect after this game has been decided and we know who's going to the AFC Championship game. With that being said, Ravens, let's get it done. We have a goal. We didn't come into the playoffs just to win one playoff game. We still have a goal we want to get to. We still want to reach that Super Bowl. And winning this game will get us one step closer and keep our season alive. So we got to get it done. With that being said, that is all I've got. Ravens Flock. We'll see what happens Saturday night. But I believe the Ravens Flock will come out on top. I believe we will soar high. We are going to walk in to Buffalo and come out with a W. With that being said, Ravens Flock, I will see you guys later. Go Ravens! Let's get this W!